This is the One Man Gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
This is Booking the Territory, a pro wrestling podcast hosted by Mike Mills, Hard Body Harper from Wildcat Sports and Entertainment, and the mentally irregular Doc Turner. This podcast is a mix of your topics and thoughts in the world of pro wrestling, along with interviews and discussions with current independent stars and your favorite stars from the past. And now, here's your host, Mike Mills.
Thank you for checking out this week's episode on our YouTube channel, where this week we're going to talk to the one and only Kenny the StarMaker Bolin. We had Kenny the StarMaker Bolin on our show back in March of 2016, and it was one of our most downloaded episodes of our podcast that we host. So what we usually do is we will take our interviews that we do with the great talents that we have, such as the One Man Gang or Donovan Dijak or Michael Tarver from the Nexus during his WWE days, and we will upload them onto our YouTube page where it's just the interview and not our weekly wrestling reviews with it. If you are interested in listening to us for the first time because you're checking out Kenny the StarMaker Bolin, check out our weekly podcast where we talk about WWE and Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling, or TNA, whichever you want to call it, where we do our weekly reviews and we take our listener-submitted questions to bookingtheterritory@gmail.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher. Like I said, we have the interviews, but we also do the weekly reviews where we like to have a good time, and language is not for the faint of heart. So please check us out, subscribe to us. You will definitely probably enjoy it, and if you don't, just give us a chance and we'll see, man. But we really appreciate you checking out Kenny the StarMaker Bolin's episode on YouTube today. Go ahead and check out some of our other ones, such as the Beer City Bruiser from Ring of Honor. We've got Donovan Dijak from Ring of Honor as well. I had on the legendary One Man Gang. We're going to have on Sam Houston very shortly, where Sam is going to talk to us as well on our podcast. So that'll be uploaded in the next couple weeks to months, coming up very soon. I shouldn't say months, couple weeks maybe. But right now we've got Kenny the StarMaker Bolin. If you do not know who Kenny the StarMaker Bolin is, Kenny StarMaker Bolin is very, very popular on the Jim Cornette Experience, on Jim Cornette's MLW radio show, on their podcast platform. Kenny is always on Jim Cornette's show. Kenny also has his own podcast called The Bolin Alley. So you are sure to enjoy the conversation that Kenny the StarMaker Bolin and I have. He is a funny guy. His stories from the world of professional wrestling from his time in OVW are ridiculous. They are hilarious. I mean, he's got some great stuff, some great stories about Jim Cornette. I'm sure you've heard some of them before, but maybe you haven't. There was, I think, a few of them that he told on here that were pretty new, or ones that he said they had never told before. So whatever the case, sit back and relax. Check out my conversation with Kenny the StarMaker Bolin. And if you enjoy the show, make sure you check out all of our episodes that we have had with many other wrestling talents, and check out our weekly review shows if you are a fan of professional wrestling, where we, like I said, we discuss WWE, we discuss Raw from WWE, we discuss TNA, and we discuss Ring of Honor. So sit back, relax, check out my discussion with Kenny the StarMaker Bolin, and we appreciate you tuning in to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast YouTube channel.
Here with you might hear a little bit of background noise. I got two mass DVD burners burning damn near 1,000 DVDs for Cornette.
Gotta make that merch, right?
Well, he pays dearly for it. I promise you that.
I hear you.
I'm about the only one around here I know that does this. I don't know anybody that mass produces DVDs in Louisville anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those dying things, right?
Sort of. Well, for everybody except for people in the wrestling business, I guess. And people wanting bootleg movies and all that good shit. But I kind of faded out of that business. I got enough going on. I figured I better leave that part of it alone.
I hear that. Most definitely.
Now, who is Phil Gutling? Is he associated with you?
Phil Gutling. I don't know of Phil Gutling.
Well, somebody said that they were wanting to do an interview with me today at 4:00, and I never got a call from them. And then seconds later, you chimed in and said, "I'm calling you now."
Oh, no. I don't know who that is.
Well, shit. Well, that's who I thought I was doing this. I thought I was doing this for them. Were you and I scheduled today?
Yeah, we scheduled at 6. What happened was
That's
last
what I
week.
thought. I remember doing scheduling for somebody for 6, but I couldn't remember who the hell it was. They have to remind me or I always forget.
No worries. Yeah, I hit you up with a last week. I actually had a listener of mine told me I didn't know you had a Twitter, and he goes, you need to get Kenny StarMaker Bolin on, and
Oh,
he tagged you, and
okay.
I said, well, I didn't know he had a Twitter. Sure, I'd love to have him
I'm
on
not
one day.
on there a whole hell of a lot, but a little bit more now that Vince Russo had me on his show. So,
Oh,
which
I
that
got you.
aired today. That's running for the next 2 weeks. We're doing 1 hour of it today and 1 hour of it next Thursday.
I'm sure that's pretty fascinating.
Well, I guess we'll let people judge. He seemed to like it, or he wouldn't have kept me on over 2 hours, I guess.
Probably.
Plus, my son, the Prince, is on there, and he offers some pretty good insight as well. So,
I bet that's gonna be good. Well, I appreciate you taking some time for me today.
Well, poor Phil Gutling's probably trying to call me now, and poor thing.
I appreciate
you know what?
you.
I wish we could add him to the call. We'd do a dual podcast today. That'd be the first time I've done that. Hey, damn, I'm double booked, man. We got to do.
I'm double booked. I'm doing, as they say in the wrestling business, I'm doing a double shot.
Doing a double shot, only this time at the same time.
Yeah, could figure. You can't do that. You can't do that in the old days, right?
Probably not.
Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on. Hey, my show is just a small show. It's called Booking the Territory.
All right.
I'm a 40-year-old who grew up watching Mid-South wrestling in New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right, that's Denver Cornette hailed that for a little while.
That's right. And later on, I actually did work some indies, and one of my mentor is I don't know, you may know him. His name is Rod Price. He worked in Global.
Not familiar. I'm not familiar with him, but I bet you Cornette probably is.
Yeah, he trained in He trained Rodney Mack.
Okay, well I know Rodney Mack. I worked with him a little bit at OVW.
Yeah.
And his wife.
His wife Jazz, right? Well, I met Rod.
Rodney's a class guy. I liked him.
Yeah, he's I've been trying to get him on a show. Him and I text all the time. It's just we can't get our schedules together.
I hear you, man.
So yeah. So my show, we talk about the current product, but me and my co-host, we're kind of stuck. We missed the territory days, like probably most people are.
I really wish I'd gotten to work in the territories, but they were kind of fading as I got in. I worked a little bit with Nick Goulas as I started in Nashville. Yeah. And then, of course, Jimmy opened Smoky Mountain, and I did some ring announcing and backstage shit there. And then, worked for it. I'll just refrain from the language and won't say what I think about.
Oh no! You could. Yeah, my show. We let it fly.
Well,
so
mine
whatever.
is too. I hate him giving it. I did it as a favor for Dennis Corleuzza, but I worked for Ian Rotten for about 6 or 7 months, and then Danny Davis did a tribute show over there. We did the Eddie Gilbert Memorial over there, which I guess everybody on the planet did. And Danny Davis kind of discovered me over there and asked me if I'd consider working for him as well. So I was doing both companies for quite a while. And both companies were on TV, but Ian's show went away in about 3 or 4 weeks. And, we were wrestling in a ring that had goddamn duct tape on it. And that was on television.
God.
And the audio was the shits. The announcers were the shits. And sorry, announcers, but y'all did the goddamn shows drunk. From Ian Rotten's living room with Ian doing commentary over the show it was sad. It was just fucking sad. And I was embarrassed to even be a damn part of it. And eventually I had to get out of there. But there were some good people over there. A few good things did happen. I got to work with Terry Bam Bam Gordy there, and Tommy Rich, Dan Severin, Dutch Mantell kind of mentored me somewhat over there as well. If it hadn't been for Dutch, I'd have lost my mind. And the first WWE stars I ever managed were Salvatore Sincere, who I still keep up with to this day. He was a lot of fun to work with, and also the Timothy Wells and Stephen Dunn, the team of Well Done. So those were the first 2 WWE stars I ever got associated with.
And I've listened to a couple of your interviews, and I remember you saying too that and correct me if I'm wrong. When you worked for OVW,
don't worry, I will.
Yeah, I hear that. I ain't mad at you. When you worked for OVW, did you say that you weren't technically a WWE employee?
No, I was not on their direct payroll at all. I was paid under the table.
And that's the most amazing thing of everything I've heard you say on different podcasts, whether it's your own or Cornette's, that I think most people probably did not realize.
Oh no, I guarantee you they didn't.
Yeah, that one was the one that I was like, wait, what? Did he just say that right? And then I heard you repeat it.
I never got a check directly from them. I never. Well, hell, got a phone call coming in. Let's see. This is my ex-wife, possibly my son. Give me 1 second. This is going to be a different podcast.
No problem.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
I wanted to tell you we're home now, so if you talk to him, you don't have to.
Okay, I'm doing a podcast. You're going live over the world right now.
Hello, world.
Hello, world. Hello, world. It's
awesome.
my ex-wife, Gabrielle, the one responsible for the prince. Gab, this is your first podcast appearance, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, I think so.
Yeah. So Gabrielle's on. Tell him about your son, the prince. Got anything you'd like to say about him before you go?
He's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
He's fabulous, and I love him very, 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 very much.
And she still changes his diapers. Nah, she gave that up 2-3 years ago. What am I talking about? Well, tell Chris I'm doing one podcast, maybe two, because there's one guy apparently I stiffed today at 4:00. So I will finish this one. So you've been on your first podcast. You'll have to tell Chris you're worldwide famous now.
Oh my goodness, I guess I will.
There you go. All right. Well, you have a good one.
Okay, thanks.
I said good day.
Bye.
All righty. Well, there was the ex-wife checking in on my son.
That's a first for her and a first for me.
That
on my
is,
show.
yeah.
It's
You're
the
first one ever to get words out of the ex-wife on a podcast or television.
Well, maybe that means you'll remember me and come back.
I guess I'll have to remember you now, won't I?
Hey man, I'll take it.
Ain't got much choice. All right, I'm trying. I'm sitting here trying to. What do they call it? Multitasking. I'm trying to get. And if anyone thinks that makes me any better friends with Jimmy, that I mass produce his DVDs, no, it don't. Getting a raise out of that son of a bitch for me to be doing the only one who can do this work in a tri-state area that I know of is like pulling teeth. So, and then he shows up over here and King, he calls me King when he wants something. King, do you think you can make 1,000 DVDs for me? I said, well, yeah, I could. Can you have them done by Wednesday? I said, well, might be a bit of a fee on that. I don't. So I charge you pretty good, and I'm gonna make a pretty good lick off of this. But the money he's gonna make is gonna be fucking ridiculous.
So you make his DVDs. Not only that,
I mass produce them mainly. I don't have that many mass produced customers. There's no one really sells as many DVDs as me and Jimmy do that I know of. Because I've got a few out there I sell myself so I got to mass produce my own and also mass produce Jimmy's. So these burners have way more than paid for themselves. I can promise you that. And the job that Jimmy's getting done today is running him over $1,000. Sounds like a lot of money, but he's going to make about, if I had to guess, probably about $13,000 off the DVDs he's getting done today.
That's beautiful.
I just divulged a little info he probably didn't want him getting out there.
So you mass produce his DVDs, and then when you go on his show, it's the highest rating shows that he does.
I've got 5 of the 6 6 of the 7 now. 6 of the 7 highest rated shows he's done. The only person to beat me was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Look at that.
I can handle that. I can handle losing to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. But yeah, it's amazing. Well, I want to go back to the OVW stuff. That amazed me when you said that you were not even being paid or were not even a WWE
I wasn't really even
employee.
being pursued as a manager. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you got to get the King up there. You got to get the StarMaker." I never became the StarMaker until 3 years later.
Yeah.
Until I had sent when Lance Cade and Jindrak got called up. That was when Jimmy said, well, here he is, the old StarMaker himself. So he kind of stuck me with it because I'd been King B for all that other time. King or King B is what everybody called me. So when he called me the StarMaker, I said, you know what? There's 1,000 goddamn kings. Even though I was probably technically the first when they called me the king of volleyball or kickball in 1972, which was pre-Lawler, by the way. Lawler never went by the king till 1974, but I don't get much credit because I was only 12 at the time.
Of course.
So I don't get much credit. But Lawler stole it from me, if you want to get right down to it. But Cornette says he stole it from somebody else. So...
And that's the wrestling business.
That's the wrestling business, and nothing's original, and everyone steals from everybody. It's kind of like
that's right.
It's kind of like comedians. And pardon me if I drift on you a little bit, but I'm trying to mass produce this shit and not get lost on where I'm at. And there's 1,000, well, probably 1,500 DVDs on my desk right now, and trying to keep straight who's what. Because he's got Corny in the UK, he's got the Cornette's Rookie Year 1 and 2, Midnight Express 1 and 2. Oh. Good God. All right. Now, this other guy wants to call me and have me do a podcast. Let me, good God, guys. Let me tell him that I'm doing another podcast. What is the name of your show?
My name of my show is Booking the Territory.
Booking the Territories. And y'all going to find out just how slow I type now. Booking the Territories. Be done. When are we going to be done? By 8, surely.
Yeah. Oh, are you Eastern time zone?
I'm Eastern.
Yeah.
Be done by 8 p.m. You can do your show then. Or you can blow me. All righty. There we go. It's kind of the option I give Jimmy on stuff. Well, you can do this or you can blow.
Yeah, you said that a couple weeks ago on the show.
Did I?
Blow me.
Yeah, that was said in private many a times when he like how things were going. Well, you can do it, or you can blow me. Whatever you prefer.
Whatever works for you, right?
Well, he normally opts for the opposite.
I'll take the other option.
Okay, doing Booking the Territories. Be done at 8. Can do your show then. There we go. All right. We'll see if that's good enough for him. Well, he fucked up the other day. This guy, that's his name. Phil Gluting's his name. Excuse me.
I have
Phil Gluting, you got a shout out on the Booking the Territories podcast.
Yeah, he got a free plug from
free
StarMaker Bolin.
You got the wife calling in. My son's liable to call in here in a minute. You never know. And now he does that shit to me all the time, but
of course.
And but we'll just go from there.
That's what kids are for.
Okay, so it looks like we're about to wrap up Jim Cornette in the Rookie Year, Volume 1, Disc 2. And that leaves me, what have I got left? I got Corny in the UK done. I've got Midnight Express 1 and 2 done. I got Rookie Year Volume 1, Disc 1 done. And we're almost done. And then I got the Louisville. He's got that Louisville Gardens book he wrote. The History of Louisville Wrestling.
Yeah.
And you get a free Louisville Gardens DVD with that. It shows a lot of the great matches from the Louisville Gardens. And I got to make 200 of them goddamn things.
That sounds like fun.
Well, he never pays in advance, so I got to do them to get paid. So he knows I'll take his money and tell him to get fucked if he don't. So.
Hey, you said you just came off of doing Russo's show, and this is gonna air.
We actually recorded that a couple of months ago.
Okay, so it's gonna air soon, or is it aired now?
It aired today. Today,
okay.
After 2 months ago or longer that we recorded it, it aired today. And the only negative thing about that particular show, I think it's $4 a month to be a member of the brand. But the good thing is that he does content just about every day. Everything's archived, and you can go month to month. You don't have to sign a year or anything like Cornette showed with the drive-thru.
Yeah.
It's nothing like that. You just pay the $4. So it depends how bad people want to see me and Russo. A lot of people didn't think that would ever happen. Including me, to be honest with you. We begged him for probably 3 years to put us on a show. But with me being friends with Cornette, he always thought it was an ambush.
Well, what?
And I
in a wrestling business, everything's always...
Well, I tried to explain to him, if I hated everybody Cornette hated, I wouldn't have a friend in the world. Because he hates fucking everybody. And the way it's going these days, everybody hates him.
No. Everybody. There's a lot more people that like him than.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far. Ever since he did that rant on the Muslims and the Mexicans. He automatically pisses off half the world when he pisses off the God. Well, 87% of the people in the world believe in God, so he's pissed all them off.
That's true.
48% of this country is probably a Republican or something similar to one. He pisses all them off.
Oh God!
Now the Muslims, he's pissed all them off. He went on another rant about something stupid here a while back and pissed a bunch more people off.
Lucha Underground.
The Luchas. There you go. So now you get pissed all the Mexicans off.
Oh, he pissed them. He pissed everybody
off.
Oh,
he had me come on the show thinking I was going to totally defend him. I just agreed that I didn't feel it was what you call wrestling, but I wasn't going to badmouth.
Yeah, it's not wrestling.
I can watch it.
It's a television program.
It was like I told him, it's Days of Our Lives. It's a General Hospital. It's a fucking soap opera.
That's it.
But
that's all
then
it
again,
is.
that's all WWE is anymore. It's just a bad one.
Well, I'm really gonna ruffle you. Well, I got one question first before we talk about WWE.
Right.
So I had a listener who sent this to me. He said, ask StarMaker Bolin who would because Jim and Vince Russo don't get along.
Oh.
Who would win a fist fight between those two?
Russo would kill him.
Russo would kill him.
Russo would kill him.
Really?
Jimmy Cornette in fights in his life. Let's say Jimmy's had 1,000 fights. He hasn't, but let's say he has.
Yeah.
Jimmy is 0 for 1,000. And about 100 of those fights were with me during our teenage years when he would try to bow up and think that he was a up-and-coming star in the wrestling business. And he had one problem. He was tender-headed, and I wasn't. So whenever we had wrestling matches against each other, if he got mad or upset about how the course of the match was going, and you got to remember back then, in those days, we were shooting because let's face it, we didn't know how to work. We didn't have a ring. We wrestled on wooden floors. We wrestled on high school wrestling mats out in parking lots.
Wherever you could find a flat piece of ground.
Yeah, in courtyards. So they were matches that were mixed shoot work. There was some working involved, what little we actually knew how to do. Right. And then we were trying to win the matches. I mean, they weren't decided finishes or anything. Unless that was a upon to agreement to where somebody say, hey, I'd love to have a match with you, but I know you're going to whip my ass. So, how do you want it to go? Well, that occasionally would happen. And kind of like fighting Dan Severn. Well, he'd walk in the locker room and go, well, guys, I don't know who's the champion around here. And then we'd point to whoever it was. And he's, well, here's how it's going to go. We can either do this match the easy way or we can do it the hard way. But either way, I'm going to be leaving with that belt. And I said, holy shit, that man sounds pretty fucking confident. I think I'd go the easy way with this if I were you. You can always order another belt, $250. So that was kind of how the KWA, the Kentuckiana Wrestling Association, as we called it, alliance. And me and Jimmy must have had 100 fights, either wrestling or just happened to get into an argument over something, and a fight would break out. And I never, ever once threw the first punch, never, ever. And because I always knew that he could have 5, 10, 15 punches. He wasn't going to hurt nobody. And then you could land 1 or 2, and he would realize the fight was over, and he quit. Well, there's just one problem with that. Jimmy is a stupid, hot-headed, only child cocksucker who won't quit. And the worst fight we ever had, we were fighting in my living room. It was a wrestling match. And it wasn't going exactly the way he wanted. He was getting a little roughed up and scruffed up and being drugged across the carpet and getting carpet burns. And I knew some shit that hurt real bad that you couldn't see. Our friends would referee the matches. And he'd be in a lot of pain, but yet the referee looking at it couldn't say, well, what are you bitching about, you pussy? He ain't doing anything to you. And so he had about enough of it. So he reached up and he grabbed a handful of my hair and he pulled just as fucking hard as he could. Now, I'm about 17, 18 years old when he did this. And there's just one problem. I'm not tender-headed. You can drag me across the parking lot by the head of my hair still to this day, and it don't hurt. It don't bother me a bit. Well, Jimmy has very fine hair and is very tender-headed. So I'm thinking, you know what? Even though it didn't hurt, you little motherfucker, you tried to hurt me. You thought it was going to hurt. So we're going to give you a little dose of your own medicine. So I put him in a headlock, and I grabbed as big a handful of his hair as I could, and I yanked for all I was fucking worth. And it fucking killed him. So now it's a fist fight now. He comes back at me and he's swinging fucking fist. He's calling me every goddamn name in the book. He can't see without his glasses, so he couldn't hit me if his fucking life depended on it. Swinging for all he's worth. He's picking up shit and throwing it at me. There's a nutcracker laying in the living room. If you've ever seen one of these big fucking nutcrackers, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
right.
the old school.
The old school, and picks that up, throws it at me.
Yes.
He goes
shit.
into the bathroom, and now he's throwing fucking shampoo bottles and conditioner and perfume bottles. Anything he can get, he's throwing at me. None of that's working, and I'm thinking, this crazy motherfucker's lost his goddamn mind. All over fucking pulling hair. So then he's grabbing a few other things in the living room, and the one mistake he made, he tried to pick up basically a recliner. It wasn't a recliner, but it was one of those big chairs that's the size of a recliner. He thinks he's going to pick that up and hit me with it. So we thought. He's about 17, 18 years old. He weighs, if I had to guess, between 168 and 175 pounds. And I was probably 6 foot by then, and somewhere between, because I'm trying to guess the era of time, I might have weighed 195 to 212, give or take. He bends over trying to pick that chair up, and he takes about 3 cracks at it, and he realizes he ain't going to get that chair, but he's blowing himself up even worse trying to pick it up. I glommed that motherfucker in the back, laid him out, laid him down on that floor, put my knees on his shoulders, and I resorted to slapping him and saying, "Do you quit?" No. I slapped the fuck out of him again. I said, "Do you quit?" No. Slapped the shit out of him again. Now his nose is bleeding. He's a notorious nose bleeder. He's one of those, his nose will bleed drinking a glass of milk. No, he won't quit. That's 3 or 4 slaps. And I mean, I'm slapping the dog fuck out of him. I ain't hitting him with my fist, but I am slapping him just as fucking hard as I can and saying, "Do you quit?" So about after the 7th slap, and he still says no, now I'm blown up from slapping the shit out of him and yelling at him. So I look at him, my knees are still on his shoulders. He can't move if he fucking wanted to. I said, "I tell you what." I said, "I'm going to get up." I said, "And if you even come at me, I swear to God, you motherfucker, I'm going to kill you." I said, "You will not make it home." I said, "Or you can fucking walk away and this goddamn thing's over." I said, "It's your call." I said, "But I'm getting up. What we do from here is your fucking call." So I get up, and he gets up, and he's got that fucking death look in his eyes. I'm going, that motherfucker's going to come at me. He's got bleeding all over the goddamn place. He walks into the bathroom and closes the door. I was like, all right. He's finally got some fucking sense, and he's quit. So I'm blown up trying to catch my fucking breath. I go into my room. I'm sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes. Jimmy's still in the bathroom trying to get his nose to quit bleeding. I go cut back through the living room to go to the kitchen to get an RC Cola. That's what Mom always bought, was the 16-ounce RC Colas in the bottle. So I'm going in there to get me something to drink. Jimmy comes out of the bathroom as I'm coming back through with my RC. He looks at me. I look at him. He holds his arms up and comes over and hugs me. He said, "That was a good fight, man." I said, "Yeah. Yeah, it was a good fight, Jimmy." I said, "Why don't we not have too many more, though?" But he thought because he lived, that was a good fight. He never got off an ounce of offense other than throwing something fucking at me. And I'm telling you, we had 100 of those, but that was probably the best one we had. And he still to this day remembers trying to pick up that chair, trying to hit me with the equivalent of a recliner. And oh God, I wish somebody had filmed it, because I can picture every minute of that in my eye, in my mind's eye, as they call it, like it happened yesterday. And I'm 56 years old now. This is our 40th year of friendship, if you want to call it that. 40 years we've been known each other and associated
with 100 fights mixed in
with
there.
About 100 fights in between there. But you know what? We never ever stayed mad, and we never ever got mad to fight over anything other than a wrestling match, you know. And if the wrestling match wasn't, he bet me once. Now this is a much quicker story. Jerry Lawler had beaten Coco Ware rather quickly on television that day in like a minute and a half. Mm-hmm. And I was feeling real cocky about myself, and we knew we were going to have a match that night. We'd have cards. It wouldn't only be us. We had other people on the cards as well. Mm-hmm. And they'd wrestle, and they were all shoots, and whoever won would win. And they were all sizes. I mean, they went from kids that were 90 pounds up to maybe 250. You know, hell, 275 counting my brother. That big fucker. He was 6'4", 275, biscuits and gravy razor. Back then, we called him Giant Razor because it was a play on the Giant Frazier, who was Plowboy Frazier, who later went on to become Uncle Elmer. And so we had that match at night. Was going to have our match at night. So I told him, I said, I tell you what, I said, Lawler beat Coco today in a minute and a half. I said, today I'm going to beat you even quicker. I said, I will beat you in 59 seconds or less. Jimmy says, I bet you dinner at Long John Silver's that you can't beat me in 5 minutes, more or less under a minute. I said, let's do it this way. I said, if you can last more than a minute, I'll buy dinner. And if you last less than a minute, you're buying dinner. Deal. You know how long the match lasted?
20 seconds.
3. Once the bell rang, I went over, grabbed him, rolled him up, and I guess what would be a combination schoolboy small package, what the fuck over. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, it was over. He got beat in 3 seconds. Now, this is what makes it even funnier. That Tuesday night at the Louisville Gardens, Tojo Yamamoto wrestled somebody at the Gardens in like the second or third match of the night. And whoever the fuck he wrestled, he rolled him up in a small package and beat him in 3 seconds.
Gotta love it.
Me and Jimmy had our match on a Saturday night. Tuesday night, the same fucking match happened in the ring with Tojo Yamamoto. He turned and looked at me like, what the fuck did I just see? That is what we did Saturday night. I said, would you tell somebody in the back what the fuck we did? I said,
right.
They just stole
It's too ironic.
They just stole. He said, I never said a fucking word. So just out of fucking chance, Tojo does the same thing that me and Jimmy did on a Saturday night. Once again, we was about 18. Hell, 19 at the fucking oldest. And that's. Oh God!
I've been a fan of Jim Cornette. I mean, as a kid, I obviously didn't like him, but I'm to this day a fan of him, and I can listen to him go off on his rants all day long. And it's amazing.
I can't, because I've heard every fucking one of them.
Right.
And I hear them damn near every day.
Well, what's funny?
I've lost this much money to market. Oh my God! I can't grow my trees. The mayor's fucking with me in Middletown. They're moving shopping center into my neighbor. It's the same fucking rant every goddamn day. I'll just open up the calls. Jimmy, what's making you miserable today?
Right.
Why are you miserable today? How much money you lost in the stock market today?
Well,
I think today he kicked back. I think he got a little back today, but.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, if he's ever going to build that deck he's wanting to build, it is.
What's funny is, though, like, I've had James Beard on my show, the referee from the Global Days and in the Sportatorium, and James always posts positive stuff, or James is real positive, and like today he posted something about Jim Cornette, and it was, whether you like him or not, he's gonna tell you the truth, but I've never met a more great person, and it's funny because when you listen to Jim Cornette on air, or whether it's on air or you look at any of the YouTube videos,
Jimmy's gonna tell you the truth as he thinks he knows it. It would be a call to talk about what you are currently doing for marketing and areas you can improve on. I don't know if I want to do that or not. He's gonna tell me about marketing.
Sounds like a sales pitch.
Fuck him. Good. I'll just fuck with him. I'll just let him make the call, and it ain't gonna go the way he thinks it's gonna go. We'll just do that.
Let's just.
Well, Phil, we just ratted you out on another podcast of what you're about to get. I hope you're listening. But you're not. This is recorded.
Yes, it is, sir.
That's Southern for recorded, people.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
This is recorded.
Born and raised in New Orleans.
I don't even count New Orleans as Southern. I count it as French.
Whoa.
The whole different world.
It's a mix.
Now, you know I helped Jimmy move to Louisiana, or do you?
No, I never.
I was working at Kroger at the time, and I took 3 days off to help him move to Alexandria, Louisiana.
Alexandria. I've heard him say he lived in Alexandria.
And, he hated it down there. He couldn't understand anything anybody said. They all hated him. He was just like, that was when everybody believed the Heels were what they were portrayed to be.
Yeah.
And they just hated. Uh-oh. Did I fuck up? That's why you can't sometimes multitask. I'm about to find out if I fucked up or not.
Oh damn.
It's not the end of the world. It's going to record, so we're good. All right, so we're still strolling here.
Sounds good.
Well, good as it's going to sound.
As good as it's going to sound.
So, but yeah, he I guess I was 22, I guess, give or take, 21 maybe, and he rented a van so I could help move him to Alexandria, Louisiana. And then I had to drive the van back. It was going to save him a shitload on charges or whatever.
Yep.
So me and I think me and a friend of mine named Mike Gosling drove. Gosman was his name. He was a huge, handsome Jimmy Valiant fan. And we moved him to, but we also did some matches while we were down there. We did a Superdome card. We did a show somewhere in downtown New Orleans.
Probably the auditorium.
Yeah, I'm sure it was the auditorium.
The municipal auditorium downtown.
Not a monster-sized place, but
no, right. I know exactly the building they used to work in.
Well, we were there, and Cornette had a shitload of heat, and everybody was wanting to kill him in the midnight. And some fan spit on Bobby Eaton as we were trying to get out of there. Oh, Bobby takes a look back, but he can't get to him. He can't reach him because Bobby's going to fucking kill this guy. And because Bobby, as sweet a guy as he is and was and still is, if you pissed him off, that was the last motherfucker in the wrestling business you wanted to fuck with, because he would fucking kill you. He was Southern redneck from the word go. And this fan in Louisiana spit on him. We finally get him calmed down, get him in the car. It's me and Bobby Eaton in the front, Jimmy and Dennis Condrey in the back. And they're driving my Thunderbird. And because I had the biggest car of the lot of them. So we get to a red light, and I'll be goddamn if one car in front of us, Bobby doesn't recognize the person who spit on him.
Oh, shit.
He said, that's the motherfucker that spit on me. He said, hold on, guys. We're at a red light. Puts the car in park. He goes up to their car, knocks on the window, says, hey, motherfucker, you want to spit on me now? He says, roll your window down, you piece of shit. He says, you want to fucking fuck with me? Get out of your goddamn car, you piece of shit. Well, of course, they're not getting out of the car. There's 4 of them in there, and they ain't budging. And Dennis is sitting there going, oh, God, this ain't going to end pretty. He says, we better be ready. Jimmy's getting in the trunk of my car and getting ball bats in case we need them. Because I always had a shitload of softball bats in the car. So Jimmy's arming us with ball bats. We're sitting there waiting to see how this is going to play out. And they lock those doors. Bobby has dented those doors from side to side on the driver's side. They're panicking. They won't get out. He goes to the other side, and he starts kicking and stomping and beating shit out of those doors. He fucked that car up so bad. The light turns green. Bobby don't give a shit. He's beating on that car until they can go forward and leave. And when they peeled out of there, he come back. I said, are you better now? He said, that motherfucker won't spit on me again. I said, well, you're probably right. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to spit on anybody again, to be honest with you. But of all the fucking luck in downtown New Orleans, that was who was parked in front of us, was the guy that spit on. But at least Bobby thought it was. I hope he's the one, because he sure got a fucked up car out of the deal.
Right.
And they didn't.
That's a great story.
And they didn't give a shit if they ran tags or not, because I was going back to Louisville, Kentucky. And the description wasn't going to fit me. Me and Bobby Eaton don't look too much alike. What are you talking about? I didn't beat up no car, and I never heard anything out of it anyway.
See, those days, the territory days, they're amazing. I had One Man Gang on my show, and
I liked him, man. He was a good guy. Jimmy managed him a little bit down in Texas, I believe, if I remember. Or might have been New Orleans.
I think it was. Well, I know in World Class, Gang was telling me he mainly was with Gary Hart. So I bet you.
This is pre. Goddamn, he might have been One Man Gang then. I don't know. But it seems like Jimmy managed him briefly in either Louisiana or Texas. But I honestly,
I think he did. I think maybe there may have been a short spell.
Yeah, it wasn't long. It wasn't long, because I remember him being with Gary Hart as well.
Yeah. Well, Gang was talking about how just the fans back then, and he cited that building that you're talking about. He actually talked about that on the show. He said that downtown municipal auditorium in New Orleans was a hell of a building. He said those fans down there.
Well, it was made for wrestling. There's no doubt. That was the only time I ever went. That was the only time I was ever there.
It certainly was. It was made for wrestling. It was a great building. And Gang just said, he said it was that building. Him as a heel, he would have his bag packed in the car. That way, after his match, if he already had his money, he just walked straight to the car. He didn't worry about going to get dressed. He just walked straight to the car. Him and whoever he was riding with that night.
Right.
That's what he said. I'm just going to say what he said.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with him. I'd say he's probably shooting you straight. As a matter of fact, I think he recently became friends of me on Facebook, not under his working name, but I think under his real name, I think.
Are you sure? Because he's...
well, hang on. What's he go by? Do you know?
Well, he's on Facebook. He is posting as one man, but he's got it together as one word and then Gang.
Well, hang on. Let me see. I'll just search Facebook and see if I'm friends with him or not. I thought I was. Because I remember him telling me to tell Cornette hello. But it's all together, one man Gang?
Oh, it's one man is together.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
And then Gang is separate.
Well, I'm about to find out. No, he's listed as a star friend. So he goes to School of Hard Knocks, married. There's Bobby Eaton on his goddamn wall. Big Red, who I never worked with him, but knew him from the USWA days. Dutch Mantell, a dear friend of mine. The fabulous Jackie Fargo, I got the great pleasure to meet backstage at one of our Legend shows. Had a lengthy talk with him. Carl Fergie, I just saw in Memphis. And it says there's 16 more pictures here. Good God. Jacques Rougeau, I never knew that well, but would have liked to. He seemed pretty cool. Jesse Barr, I knew, one of them that Jimmy managed. Jimmy Hart, obviously knew very well. Frank Morrell was a referee here forever. There's Jerry the King, stole my gimmick. Steve Regal, I did not know that well. Ricky McGraw, I did not know him at all. Spike Huber came after I left and moved to Atlanta, so I never really knew him, but knew who he was, obviously. Steve Kern and Stan Lane, both are dear friends of mine, along with Lance Russell. Just met him we had our first conversation in Memphis just here a while back. Sweet Brown Sugar, I never really knew. Terry Taylor, I know very well. Bobby Fulton, I know very well. Dream Machine was one of the classics, man. He used to ride in the back seat with me and Cornette when we would go to the Rupp Arena shows. And you talk about a funny-ass human being, Dream Machine. Troy Graham was as funny a fucking wrestler as you'd ever meet. The Sheepherders were decent friends of mine here. Matter of fact, me and Luke Williams are friends on Facebook. And Jonathan Boyd was always much more serious. Even though he knew that I was kind of connected and knew everybody, he was still more protective of the business. He wasn't too willing to share the backstage secrets that many of the others would with me, even before I got into business.
Yeah. Why do you think in a business that is such a work, and I'm referring to...
The next picture I click is Plowboy Frazier, a.k.a. Uncle Elmer.
Yeah, he posts almost every day. Usually he'll post pictures, and he's got all kind of...
Yeah, he sure shit is. He's on there as a one-man gang. I, for some reason, was thinking that he was on there under another name, but apparently not.
Yeah, I had him on in December.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, he tells me he doesn't do a lot of podcasts. He says that he never does them.
I don't hear him doing many. Of course, me, I'm every fucking where.
Yeah, well, he tells me he's not going to do them, and he tells me...
I'm a podcast whore, I guess.
I heard you say on Joe Cronin's show you actually like to go on other people's shows.
I don't mind it, especially because you run a good, smooth show. You got your questions lined up. You know what you want. But when I get on here with these, and I've had a few. I've had some I've had to end them 5 minutes into them, where it's obvious they haven't done their homework. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're carrying on like fucking clowns, and because these days you have to know everybody's got a fucking podcast.
Yep.
I don't care who the fuck you are, you got a podcast. And you might have 3 listeners, you might have 3 million and 3. But everybody's got a podcast. And me and Jimmy even pointed out, you can't do anyone's podcast anymore without making an agreement that if we have them on their show, you got to do theirs and vice versa. And Jimmy does a little less of that than I do. He's hoarded himself out more here lately because he really, with all the money he's lost in the stock market, needs to sell as much merchandise as he can. And it's I guess Honky Tonk Man paid me the greatest compliment I ever got. He said, I don't know if Kenny Bolin invented the podcast or not, but he sure as hell's perfected it. And he said he's the only one that will ever host my show when I'm not on. And this was a few years ago when he was doing a weekly podcast. And he had me co-host his show 2 or 3 times. And that was the compliment that he paid to me, to his listeners, is he might not have invented podcasts, but he sure as hell perfected it. And I launched that to Who's Slamming Who. Do you remember those? Did you hear?
I don't. That's
Well,
what
you need to look some of those up on YouTube.
Right.
Who's Slamming Who is how this podcast shit all got started. And I think Leapin' Lanny was already on the network. So was, what's his name? The Iron Sheik. John Cena's dad was on there. Rick Brady, for whatever the fuck that's worth. Because you didn't necessarily have to be a wrestling celebrity to be on this network. But it didn't hurt none. And of course, I was so connected back then with the WWE contracts and everyone knowing that I'd sent John Cena to the WWE and Mark Henry and Bull Buchanan back at that time, Rico Constantino, who was Rico the Stylist, Lance Cade, Mark Jindrak, Shad Gaspard, who was that team?
Crime Time,
whatever the hell they called them. Conway, Dinsmore, just countless. I mean, we just had so fucking many people up there. And Rene Dupree and his partner, whose name escapes me. What was this?
I can't think of it either. I can't think of his name.
It was a fucking fucked up Canadian name, but I can't think of the name of it.
I can't think.
Well. It obviously didn't mean too fucking much if neither one of us can think of it.
I can't remember for nothing.
Carlito.
Carlito, yeah.
And I was just connected with so many people that were up there that they were dying to get me on this podcast and to tell the inner secrets of OVW, which I didn't do so much of that, but I knew for a fact I was never going to really be taken seriously as a high-paid employee of the WWE. And there was talks a time or two, well, what if this, what if that? And the money just never really sounded. I made a lot more money here in Louisville because, I sold advertising on the OVW shows as well as my under-the-table pay, as well as what I got on house shows, and as well as what I got selling merchandise. And we just added it up, and we just figured that I probably made 3 times as much here as I'd ever made in the WWE, with nowhere near the spending list, because you had to get your own hotel there, your own travel. I mean, they'd cover airlines, but your rental cars was on you. And it turned out that staying here was the far better decision. But here's the other reason that it was not really even remotely feasible for me to go. When I was here at OVW, this is what the WWE had under contract and was doing nothing with them. They had Jimmy Hart. They had Jimmy Cornette, Bobby Heenan, who's the guy that had the rubber bands in his face? Captain Lou Albano.
Albano.
And then who's the one that looked a lot like Albano?
And was a manager?
A manager. Red hair.
Humperdinck?
Humperdinck.
Yeah.
I always thought him and Humperdinck were just rip-offs.
I never thought of that, but now that you say it.
But I always thought they were just rip-offs of each other. They were interchangeable. You'd never need them both in the same place at the same time. It's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah.
But they had all those guys under contract, but guess what? Not a fucking one of them was managing anybody. And then Heenan was thrown out the back door to free him up so he could go to TNA. Or WCW as they were then. And so how big of a pretentious cocksucker can I be to say, hey, Jim Ross, I know you got Cornette. I know you got all these other guys. What about me? Why don't you bring me up? I'll show you all how to do this fucking managing thing. I'll show you how to get some heat. Now, whether or not I could or could not have, most people that know me think that because I didn't come with a prepackaged reputation, that they would have thought everything that they got out of me was the real me, and that I would have been a real good heat getter up there, and especially knowing how to manage my own people. I got him over down here. We got his group heat down here. Why couldn't I have done it on the larger stage? And I have every confidence that it would have went well. But yet, for me to say, well, I'm going to be better than Cornette, I'm going to be better than Heenan, better than Humperdinck, better than all these guys, I'd have been looked at like I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to take me seriously. No way. If you got all that talent sitting up there and you're doing nothing with it, what are they going to do with me? And even though if they had put me with some of my other talent, they might still be stars there today because we knew how to get over. We knew how to get heat. And some of my guys who couldn't talk knew to shut up and let me do the talking for them. And I had an innate ability to make people believe everything I said that I totally believed. And as long as I believe it, that's all that matters. Because if I believe it, you'll believe it. You have no choice.
That's right.
Well, fuck, he thinks it's true. So
yeah.
Listen. So I wish I'd have had the shot to have done a little something there for a while, but it just wasn't the right time. Look at Dutch Mantel. He finally got a shot to do something as a manager, and he was one of the better heat getters they had. And then I'll be goddamn if he didn't become one of the biggest baby faces they had.
Oh, me and my co-host talk about him all the time. The way that went over when he got there, and the heat at first that turned into just. I mean, he was so over as a baby face. It was ridiculous. It was incredible.
And he got over huge both ways.
Yeah, but
and
exactly.
Not even I have done that. I mean, I did go to announcer and was more neutral than babyface. And you look at my Facebook wall, you'd think I was the biggest babyface that ever lived. No one ever really says a negative word about me. But back in the day, boy, if I'd have tried this shit back when I was managing, it probably wouldn't have worked as well because they hated our fucking guts. Not to the Cornette, not to the level that it was with Cornette, when everybody believed.
That was a different
time. They knew it was a work, but yet they hated us anyway, which to me is far harder.
I agree because if they're quote unquote smart to it, but you can still get them to hate you.
Yeah,
you're doing something.
The biggest compliment Cornette ever gave me. I told you what the Honky Tonk Man said, and I love Honky Tonk. I respect him mainly for not taking too much shit off anybody and speaking his mind, regardless of what I think of his wrestling ability or his wrestling personality. But the Honky Tonk Man was a gimmick I just fucking loved because that thing was originated to be a babyface. And the crowd just fucking hated him. They just, you pretentious cocksucker, you can't play no fucking rock and roll.
I was a 10-year-old kid when I was a 10-year-old kid when they started putting on WWE in New Orleans, and I will never forget seeing him going, I hate this guy.
I remember he went out like 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row. He says it wasn't that many, but that's how I remember it. But he went out and, I love you. The Honky Tonk Man loves you, and I know you love the Honky Tonk Man. And finally, about week 8 or whatever it was, wait a minute. I'm starting to think you people don't like the Honky Tonk Man. They've been booing the fuck out of him for 8 weeks. About week 8, he finally realizes, I don't think you people like the Honky Tonk Man. Well, glad you picked up on it there, Honky. And I loved him ever since, man. I just thought that was the greatest fucking thing. And he said the reason being they were trying to shove it down the fans' throats, that Vince was convinced he was going to be the biggest babyface in the history of the WWE. And turned out to be quite different.
Quite the opposite.
Well, it's kind of where they are with New Day.
I was about to say that. That's exactly what happened with the New Day.
Jimmy was over here briefly yesterday and the line up these DVDs, and I always know to piss him off, all I got to do is put WWE television on and he'll fucking lose his mind. So I put it on, and who's in the goddamn ring? New Day.
New Day.
And he watched that, and he says, why is there a guy in the ring with a fucking trombone? I said, well, because they think it's funny. He says, why is that big badass looking son of a bitch in the middle dancing? And he said, this is some of the most racist bullshit I've ever seen in my life. He says, they're talking like they're racist. Goddamn. And then the guy starts playing the trombone. Jimmy says, you know what? We were having a fine conversation until you put this shit on. I'm out of here. He got up, walked out of the fucking house.
So what did you think? We're talking about the racist angle, or not an angle. What did you think about the whole Titus O'Neil thing?
Oh, I just got a letter here. This is my first review, and I'll give. Oh God, you want to get me going? We might go overtime on this O'Neil thing.
Well, go ahead.
Jimmy went off on it too on his show. I haven't heard what he said, but I know how he felt about it. My first review from the Russo show that has come to my inbox. Hey Kenny, just watched the first part of your podcast with Russo. A great show as always. When I have a bit of extra money, I'm definitely buying a copy of your book. Thanks for the Twitter follow back. Well, let me tell you something, Dan Thomas out there who actually liked my podcast today with Vince Russo. I don't know if you're listening to this podcast today, but what do you mean when you get a little bit of money? The goddamn book is $25, $29 shipped and signed. If you go through Amazon, you can get a copy for $17.98. You ain't got $17 fucking $98 goddamn cents to your name. Wait a minute, I just saw here you're from the United Kingdom and it cost you about $50. Never mind. All right. Yeah, those overseas shipping charges are outrageous. You know what? I've had a shitload of people pay over $50 to get my book. I wouldn't pay $50 to get my book.
Just because of the shipping costs you're talking about?
Oh, the shipping charges are $20-something.
Yeah. I know that from my I have shirts and it's
It gets ugly. It gets ugly.
Yeah, it can.
I beg them to buy more shit. Don't buy some DVDs. Get your fucking money's worth. I can ship it for the same goddamn price.
Right.
Pick up a couple DVDs, a shirt, something. Something lightweight.
Yeah.
Because the book weighs a pound. They're charging for a pound, and it's about $20-something.
Get a couple shirts. That'll add to it, and it's not as heavy.
Yeah, Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
What have you heard?
What have I heard?
Yes, tell me what you've heard, and then I'll tell you what I've heard from backstage.
All I know
straight out of the donkey's mouth.
All I know is that it looked to me like something playful.
Uh-huh.
I'm not big into one of the guys who's into the dirt sheets and stuff, so I don't read all that nonsense because I think it's first off.
Well, you'll
make me go on a tirade. There's so many reporters or journalists now.
I used to even halfway follow Lords of Pain, and I don't even hardly look at it anymore. So
I can't.
I know where you're coming from there.
They're actually worse than podcasting. Than podcasters.
Well,
there's more podcasters. I mean, there's more of them than there are even podcasters.
That's fucking scary if that's the case. But you're probably
so there's so many dirt sheets now, but I don't read them. So here's my take.
All right,
look like a playful, grab.
Right.
Titus O'Neil's supposed to be this outstanding citizen of theirs that does all these great things in the community.
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden,
he
playfully grabs him and he's suspended 90 days. Well, now it's 60.
So
I don't know. Something doesn't jive.
I wish I'd come up with what Cornette had come up with. He actually outthought me on one of these. He said Vince McMahon on Martin Luther King Day. How did he phrase it? God damn it. Now I'm forgetting what he said, but he basically, well, fuck. Wish I had a better memory. He listen to Jimmy's show. He'll tell you what he said about it. God damn it. I forgot.
I need to get Jimmy on my show. That way he could just tell us.
Well, he could. Well, is this probably the time to get him? Write him on Twitter and ask him. God damn it. But my take, here's what I've heard happen. What he did is that he joshingly put his arm out to keep Vince from going any more further forward. And what he said to Vince, have you heard what he said?
Oh, I haven't heard that.
What he said to him, and I've got this straight from the horse's mouth, so I know this is true. What he said was, Vince, ladies first, so Stephanie could go ahead of him. And then he pushes O'Neil back as if he had fucking tried to grab his dick or something and loses his fucking mind. He tried to get O'Neil fired that night. Triple H had to be the one to talk him out of it. He says, I want that motherfucker fired. I don't want that sumbitch around here. So he takes a black man on Martin Luther King Day and then tries to fire him from his company.
What the shit?
And so then he wanted him fired for the 90 days, and then Triple H apparently got it dogged down to 60. And here's what I said. I sent word to whoever can get word to Titus O'Neil backstage, and I've got a few friends that are still back there. I said, tell that son of a bitch that if he has saved his money and that if he has been wise and he feels that he can work elsewhere, to serve that 60-day suspension, come back to work, find Vince's office and make it look like you're going to apologize, push that door behind you and beat the living dog fuck out of that son of a bitch and give him a reason to suspend you for 30, 60, or 90 days. Thinks he's such a badass. I know who's tough around there and who's not. And Vince, for his age, is a tough guy. He ain't
Right.
gonna whip Titus O'Neil. I can guarantee.
No, I don't
you
think
that.
so on that one. Yeah, I agree.
And I just beat the dog fuck out of that motherfucker, and I'd take whatever goddamn penalty came with it. You can lock me up for 90 days if you want to, but I whip Vince McMahon's ass, and he ain't fucking ever gonna push a black man again. And here's the thing: Vince has got a hard on for Martin Luther King Day. That's how Rico Constantino got fired. Well, he didn't get fired. They didn't renew his contract because basically he said, what, this again, when he saw more promotion for Martin Luther King on television. And he was saying it not to disparage black people in any way, because no one had as many black friends as me and Rico Constantino. And I'll be flat out honest with you. I've dated probably more black women than white women in my days, to be honest with you. And date a Filipino right now, whatever color you want to slap them on. She's pretty white though. And but the deal is that on Martin Luther King Day, this is what you decide to do is to push a guy who's a known jokester. He's always clowning. And what was up Vince's ass? What the fuck is he thinking? That he put his arm out and said, ladies first. I would have done it. I mean, that's something I'd have done. And he'd have had to whoop my ass if he'd have fucking pushed me for me playing with him and saying, ladies first. Hey, motherfucker, I don't need the goddamn job that bad. You think you're going to fucking push me in front of all the boys and get fucking serious about it? And, of course, I was just playing with you. Can't you take a joke? I can hear the son of a bitch now. But, no, that's a sore spot with me. I hope. He won't do it because Titus is going to want to get as much money as he can, and he's not going to want to lose his job because there's no fucking place else decent to go. That's the sad part about it. That's where I wish ROH was more relevant. Lucha Underground was more relevant. I know people trying to say it is. It's not. When your shows are free, and I've been there because OVW has had them. When your shows are free, you don't brag about how many people come to see you. Who gives a rat's fuck? It was warm or cool. You provided heat in the cold, and you provided air in the summer.
I've said that about the whole TNA thing. I mean, if anybody's been to Orlando, Florida, in the middle of the summer and it's 100% humidity and burning up outside, you're gonna step inside to some cool air.
OVW, at least in the 18 years I was there, profited money every year. Name me the money that TNA did.
Oh, I get, yeah.
There hasn't been such a year. They have
no right. There hasn't been one.
There. So if you ain't making no money, and the 750 rabid fans you have never paid a nickel to get in, well, who gives a fuck?
Right.
Oh, kidding, we're sold out tonight. No, we didn't sell out because you didn't buy any tickets.
The gate didn't do anything.
OVW drew 550 tonight, but let's hope those concession sales are good because we didn't sell no goddamn tickets. Now they do now. Well, guess what happened when we started selling tickets? Though the crowds went down, we didn't have 550 people anymore, or nowhere near as often. Even as good as shows as we had then, the crowds dropped off to about 300 and something. And then by the time I left, we were down to where we was lucky to have 150. If my son booked a couple of good shows, they'd jack it back up to 330, 340, because my son could actually book a better show than the people that were there at OVW. And no one will want to admit that, but facts are facts. But you'll never hear that at anybody at OVW's mouth. That's for damn sure. And
he's talking about. Oh, go ahead.
Where was I going with this?
Your son.
But I saw some shows probably months ago after I'd left OVW. They were lucky to have 30 fucking people in there. Why? Because they were charging $5. The talent level dropped off dramatically due to some bad decisions that were made of who was in charge. They finally got rid of that person, and I hear things are on a gradual upcline now. So I wish everybody luck. I wish everybody could have a successful wrestling company. They think I like burying these shit companies. You don't have to be a shit company. You can take yourself seriously and quit making a mockery of the business, and eventually the fans will come back. And pay money and be happy to be there. It's when you insult their intelligences that they go away. And that's what's been done now. Their intelligence has been insulted. and get writers off this fucking shit and let people that know something about fucking wrestling do it. Now, obviously, you're going to agree with me. I don't know many of the fans, but they're running a show here in Louisville next week in the Yum Center that holds 20,000 people. Well, 15,000 of those seats, I got a feeling, are going to be disguised as empty seats because I think I phrased that wrong. The fans are disguised as empty seats. That's what it is. Right. If they get more than 5,000 to 7,000 for this house show, tickets range from $33 to $200 for a lousy piece of shit fucking house show that's going to have almost no entertainment value whatsoever. Ooh, and if you think you're going to get John Cena's autograph when you're there, I got fucking news for you. No, you're not. And you're spending all this fucking money, and they're buying the. And I got friends that are going to this thing and spending hard-earned fucking money because they've never. I told him, if you want to experience the Yum Center, go to a U of L game when there'll be fucking 20,000 people there, like last night. Go to this goddamn things. Are you going to go, King? If they promised me a free front row seat and were going to helicopter me into the building, I wouldn't fucking be there.
Oh, that's
unless they were going to pay me, and they're not going to do that. So.
Hey, can I get a rant from you about the show Total Divas before tonight?
Well,
here's why I say that. I've heard you talk about it, and I actually, let me tell you, I'll be honest. I watch it.
I watch every one of them. Now I'm five.
My wife likes. She doesn't believe. I can't. I try to tell my wife. I was like, baby, they're working.
Yeah,
they're working.
And
she's like, it's all a work. I'm like, I'm telling you, nearly 100% of it
90. Is. Well, I'm going to say 90% of it is. 10% of it when they're acting like little bitches and little whiny whores. That part's real. Sorry. They got hot at me here one week because I called John Cena's wife a little money grubbing whore. Well, if he wasn't John Cena, do you think she'd be going after him? You saw the cold shoulder Ziggler's getting to.
Oh my God!
And people are acting like that's real. People are acting like Cena can't go home and watch it and find out the Ziggler's not his woman. Right. Jesus goddamn Christ! How stupid do they think fucking people are?
But
apparently they're stupid because people are buying it.
Right.
I've got friends that know me, that know that I know all the inner workings of the wrestling business, especially the WWE. They know that I know most of the people that are involved with this goddamn thing. And they still want to come, oh, King, you just don't know. You've been away too long. You don't know. Yeah, I do fucking know. I know Natalie Neidhart. Now, Natalie is...
Which, by the way, I fully believe she is underutilized up there.
She's underutilized as a wrestler, but... The shit they portray her doing, she's right now she's the best wrestler they got.
I agree.
Before her was a girl we developed down here, goddamn Beth Phoenix.
Yeah.
Which they happen to look quite a bit alike. But here's the problem: Natalie is not a diva.
No, she's a wrestler.
She's a wrestler.
She's a wrestler.
And so was Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix was nice looking girl. Especially when they made her all up and everything, but not a diva. And I would almost put Paige in that category, but Paige puts herself way over too much for me. I think she takes herself a little bit too seriously. You
think? See, it was part of me. Sometimes I wonder though if that's part of
still in this day and age. She's still kind of brand new there. She hadn't been there that fucking long. But then again, who out of all the women, who else has been? So fuck, I don't know. But let's put it this way: if Mickie James were still there, if Beth Phoenix were still there, Natalie's there. Let's say Maurice was still there, and even AJ. Because AJ was accidentally the most talented fucking diva ever to hit the WWE, maybe other than Maurice. Those two were some heat-getting fucking girls. But if you think that I guess I can't believe John Cena participates in this diva show. And acts like there's no camera around, and oh my fucking God. And then I guess I can understand Daniel Bryan doing it. He's got to do something for money.
Yeah. John Cena is like I heard one of the guys on MLW or the Law Radio said he's like the Yoda on the show because it kills me when Nikki Bella goes to him
Yeah.
and she's like, "Hey, this is what's going on," and you know Cena, I've never met him, I don't know.
Can't rile him up for shit.
Oh, you can't you can't
He-
fluster him and
he
rile him.
don't
He's
care.
like Yoda when he's giving advice.
Yeah, well, I've never heard that, but that's kind of pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate.
Oh my God, he drives my wife crazy when she's watching. She's like, I can't
Tell
believe
your wife from me. I'm not on your Facebook page. I don't have a picture of the lady. But you tell her from me that if she's buying any more than 10% of what she's seeing on there, I got a serious problem with her.
I don't think she's buying more than that.
I
but
hope
yeah.
not. I hope not.
She,
I got
convinced-
people that are smart that think the shit's real.
Oh God, that's unreal.
Well,
That's
my
unreal.
fiance just wished me good morning, which where she's at, it is. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning there. Let me say hey.
Go
I
ahead.
better not because she'll want a lot more than that, so I'll just say hey in a little bit.
Hey,
Well, I'm
quick.
doomed now because I already started typing, and it probably says he's typing.
He's typing. Hey, let me. I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Why in a business like professional wrestling where
Is that,
'cause
is
I've
that
heard
enough
you-
of a rant on the divas? It's a train wreck you can't, because I watch every episode. It's
I
just
do
a
too.
train wreck you can't. And the more shit I see that they're trying to make people believe is real, especially this Dolph Ziggler shit. Oh my fucking God. Well, I don't know whether to tell John or not. Why? John don't tune in next week. He might find out. Holy shit. Just how fucking stupid do you have to be as a fan to think what you're seeing is not produced and produced and produced? I get there's countless takes. Do it again. Say it this way. Stuff and then the cut betweens to where they sit there and tell you what you're getting ready to see.
Right.
Anytime that's Survivor bullshit. Survivor started that. And now it's in all the fucking wrestling shows.
It's all produced. It's all
comedies are all fucking doing it.
Oh, of course. Well, why do you think guys have such egos in the wrestling business? And I've heard you talk about Bret Hart related to the Montreal screw job and all this.
Yes.
I kind of got a follow up about that.
Well, here's the thing. If I wanted to be a pretentious cocksucker and brag about a phony business, and I hate to, I was with Jimmy at one time. You would never get me to admit that wrestling. Hang on, the girlfriend not light up. Because I love you too. The loving side of Kenny Bolin. You never see it again. What was I talking about? Remind me.
Bret Hart and ego and
someone pointed out to me here a while back that Kenny, you have beaten the AWA champion, the NWA champion, the WWE World Champion, and the ECW champion. And I'm sitting there thought about you. God damn, you know what? I have. Well, who else has done that? And better yet, what manager's ever done that? And then plus to manage the ECW champion, the WWE champion, the TNA champion, and the world title, which was basically the WCW title.
Right.
I had at one time 3 of the world champions were my guys that I managed. Conway with the NWA, Cena with the WWE, and Bobby Lashley with the TNA title.
No shit.
I had
That's
all
true.
at one time. I had 3 of the world champions that were only managed by me.
But you weren't out there just openly, hey, look at me type.
Well, and then on top of that, I beat Jerry Lawler, the AWA champion. I beat John Cena in a loser leave town. I beat Rico Constantino, if you really push it, the Gladiators champion. You remember the show American Gladiators?
Yep, I remember that.
He was the American Gladiators champion. I beat him. I beat Mark Henry, the ECW champion, and Bobby Lashley, the TNA champion, in a loser leave town match once here in Louisville. So I beat every. And then people will want to shit on that. And that's when I tell them. Because a lot of times I'll catch these wrestlers sitting around in the back bragging about who they beat and what they've done, where they've been. And especially when they talk about who they beat. And I'll look at them real quick and I'll say, hey, who at this table has ever beaten John Cena? Well, I can do that in a WWE locker room and bury a lot of people because guess what? Not a lot of people have. Jerry Lawler shows as on his new DVD, Jerry Lawler, for one reason, has his match with John Cena where I'm managing Cena against Lawler. And you know why? Because it's the only time in Lawler's career that he fought John Cena. And he wanted it on there that he had beaten John Cena. Well, that was the only place it ever happened at. So he had to put that on the DVD. And I was thankful for it because it got me some worldwide recognition on his DVD. So that was cool with me.
Yeah.
But what I remind him is, well, who here's beating John Cena? Oh, none of you? None of you have? I have. Who here's beating Jerry the King Lawler? Oh, none of you? I have. Who here's beating Bobby Lashley, MMA star and TNA champion? I have. Who here's beating Rob Conway, the NWA? Oh, everybody? Oh, never mind. I joke about that. But and then they'll want to shit on it. And I said, whoa. My matches were just as real as yours.
Right.
So fuck you. Mine was just as real as yours was.
Yeah.
Now, if any of y'all shot with Mark Henry in the parking lot, then no, you're not going to beat him. I've beaten the Big Show. How many of you back here have? Anybody? No, none of you? Am I going to beat him in the parking lot? No, I can get that big motherfucker down and hold his shoulders down.
Right.
But thank God the promoter liked me enough or hated Big Show bad enough that they had me beat him.
Yeah. It just goes to show you the egos that are involved and it's for a business that's a work.
Well, yes.
That's
it's why I've never understood actors that think they're so fucking above everybody else, and it's most of them. Let's face it, it's most of them. You're acting. Well, that's what we fucking did. We were acting. We were trying to make people believe the shit that was going on in front of their eyes was real. Well, that's what. Right. But only actors have to have take after take after take after take. Actors love us because what we do, we got to do in one take. There is no choice. You don't get to laugh about it, even though it's happened a few times. Mm-hmm. You don't get to laugh and say, oh, I fucked up. Let me start over. Well, in this day and age, I'm waiting for that. Oh, man, I fucked my promo up. Can I start that over? Fuck, man. I can picture Eddie Murphy doing it. Man, I fucked up. Let me start that over. Good Lord. So, but you don't get to do that. Actors do. So we have the hardest acting job in the world because you got one fucking take to make people believe it.
Yeah.
And if you do laugh, you better tie it into your promo because I've done that. But I'll make it part of the promo.
Right.
You're killing me, Cornette, you fool, or whatever.
You got to think like it's completely different because you're constantly thinking on your feet. That's the part that kills me about the scripted promos nowadays.
Ask Jimmy Cornette about handing me a scripted promo. That got him a long way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't. Like, I don't know how these guys go out there and do it. Like they memorize this stuff, and I'm like, well, that's why it looks like crap sometimes because you can't react. There's no reaction because it's all scripted. It's just backwards, you know. It's not. It's a weird thing. It frustrates
me. The egos in wrestling, and not everybody's got it, but most of them do. And it's like a guy wrote me, he called me today, and he said, "King, will you please watch my show? I'm going to be on OVW TV this week." I said, "I've watched that show 15 minutes in 3.5 years. Why do you think I'm going to?" Well, because I'm on it. I said, "Well, you're a dumb fuck." I said, "I went away from that show 3.5 years ago because I didn't want to be associated with it. Now you're bragging about being there and want me to watch the show that you're on." And I said, "You haven't wrestled in 4 years. How good?" "Well, King, it was a great match." I said, "Who says so?" "Well, they did." "Well, they are a bunch of bumblefucks that all kiss each other's ass and work for free and are happy to fucking be there for free. And have been there for free for years and years and years. Why? So they can say they're on television. On a show that absolutely almost nobody fucking sees. And now you want me to watch it so I can tell you horrible things about how your match was." I said, "I haven't seen the match, but I know what matches look like from people that haven't wrestled a serious match in 4 years." And I said, "You've already done one thing that's pissed me off. You told me how great your match was. You never say how great your match is. You let others say how great your match." Well, others told me. I said, but you originally told me, "Kenny, it was a great match." You should say, "Kenny, watch the match and tell me what you think." and let me say it's great. You're already trying to pre-reference me by telling me it's great. And now I'm really going to be looking at this match. Oh, well, this dumb fuck thinks it's great.
Yeah.
And he's nearly 40 years old and hadn't worked any serious matches to speak of. And he did the same thing, telling me he worked a match with Tommy Rich, and he said Tommy Rich got no pop at all. And here this guy is, who's never been seen in this part of Tennessee before, says the crowd went nuts when he came out. Why? Why would they go nuts for a guy they've never seen? I don't understand. So I just left it alone. And it's embarrassing for me a little bit, and I don't get embarrassed too easily. But when people go on Facebook and they, oh, Kenny Bolin, you're a legend, or you're a genius, or you're one of the great minds of the business, I can assure you guys, I do not see myself in that light. I know so many people smarter than me, so many people that I feel have accomplished more than me. And what was the other? It was like a 3-stage question there. But that is just not the light that I see myself in. I'm flattered that people think that. And so many people have said it. I guess I'm doing something they like or respect. But it's just, for a guy who never really did much national television, I did a few cameos on WWE over the years. And, of course, I get in those package shows where they're showing Cena with the OVW footage. But my girlfriend told me I was on in the Philippines 2 weeks in a row and her uncle's dying. He just thought that was the greatest thing in the world, that his niece's boyfriend is on TV in the Philippines. And which I had no clue. I didn't know they aired that shit over there. But 2 weeks in a row, they said that I was on WWE programming over there with John Cena. And a long-haired guy. So the long-haired guy would be Rico Constantino. They didn't know who he was. And so for a guy who really never had that big stage to perform on, yes, I got a lot of done and a lot of recognition for a guy who never really left Louisville, Kentucky. I am far more famous than I should be, and I know that. Being called a genius, well, hell, when you've hung around Bobby Heenan's, Jerry Lawler's, the Dutch Mantels, some people want to say Cornette's a genius. This is a shoot. Cornette is the greatest thief that ever lived. Cornette never, ever booked one fucking match or idea that he didn't steal from somebody else. He is the Henny Youngman of wrestling managers. He has stolen from everybody. And I don't know if you hear all my shows or not, but I did a show here a while back where I said, you name the great booking idea Cornette had, and I'll tell you where it was done first.
Ooh.
And I said, I don't need any preparation. I don't need to think about it. Name it, and I'll tell you where it happened first. And they even went as far as the scaffold match. I said, well, number one, Jimmy didn't book that. Number two, he participated in it. Number three, he fucked it up because he fell off the goddamn scaffold.
He sure did fall off.
And expected a guy down below to catch him and blamed him because he didn't catch his 255-pound ass. I said, and who did it first was Jerry Jarrett and Don Green. And guess what? Neither one of them fell off the goddamn scaffold. Made it a success. So, but no, they could not name sitting in the seats with the popcorn at ringside. Yeah, but Bill Watts did it.
Right.
Jerry Jarrett did it in the early 70s. And I used to say that you can recycle this shit every 7 years and it's brand new. The problem was Jimmy never waited 7 years. He'd recycle it about every 2 years. Yeah, didn't I just see this a couple of years ago? Didn't I see this last year on Smoky Mountain? Now you're doing it here in OVW. God damn it, Jimmy. Have you got one original thought? And if you really want to talk about his lack of originality, what's the most famous team he's known for managing?
Midnight
Express. Guess what? That ain't even original. The Midnight Express existed before Jimmy. They were managed by who? Paul Heyman. Had Randy Rhodes and Dennis Condrey, and that's why they were known as the original Midnight Express.
Wait. Not Paul Heyman.
Yes, Paul Heyman.
No.
Yes, Paul Heyman. Managed Randy Rhodes and Dennis Condrey. Not only were they first.
That was prior to Jim Cornette
managing. Yes. They as a matter of fact, they appeared briefly in Memphis. And when they fought in WCW, That's what they were fighting for, is that Paul Heyman was pissed that Jimmy had a team called the Midnight Express, so he had Randy Rhodes and Dennis Condrey come in and fight Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, and it was the original Midnight Express versus Jimmy's Midnight Express. So not even his team was fucking original. And then he had another team. Remember what they were called, the Smoky?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'll help you out. I'll help you out. The Heavenly Bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Gigolo Jimmy and Dr. Tom Pritchard.
Yeah.
Gigolo Jimmy has since passed away. Well, listen to this shit. Not even that was original. The Heavenly Bodies were originally Don and Al Green, the Mean Greens, the Heavenly Bodies, in Memphis, the Memphis territory. So neither one of his teams were even fucking original.
Oh, boy.
And I'm the one that got him his music from the movie The Midnight Express. I picked his music out for him because I wasn't in the business yet and just wanted to help where I could. And I'm the one that had the record album.
I'll be damned.
So he ain't got an original fucking thought in his body. Everything that you've ever seen him do, he stole from another promoter. That is not a genius. That's a thief.
Wow. Well,
and that's
in wrestling,
God's honest truth. So if there's any of you Cornette fans out here that are listening, you have the option to blow me if you think I'm telling you anything other than the truth. Because I got no reason to lie about it. At least everything I did was original. I was the king before Jerry Lawler was the king. I was. Then I said, all right, Lawler can have king. He got it over famous before I did. He was on worldwide TV, and I wasn't. He can have king, because people still to this day call me King and King B. Why? Because they've been calling me that since I was 12 fucking years old. That's why. But StarMaker, how many StarMakers have there been?
You got me on that one. Just yours?
Oh, they tried to call Johnny Nitro StarMaker once on Raw. So people go, "Hey King, I hear you getting ready to be on TV on Raw." So, well, it's going to be hard to do with me sitting here in my living room. How in the fuck am I on Raw? Oh, they just announced the StarMaker's going to be on. Did you film something for them? I said no, but I'm going to be interested to see what they show. So I put it on, and we have the StarMaker. What was Johnny fucking Nitro? Who's down in Lucha now, whatever the hell he's wrestling as down there.
What the hell? What's he? He's just Morrison now.
Yeah,
not a
Morrison, whatever. But that was his name in WWE.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, someone might want to let Jim Ross know that there's already a StarMaker that's fairly well known down here. I said, I am the one that just did a nice big video segment with Mark Cuban, the multi-billionaire, and John Cena. And that guy's manager is known as the StarMaker. So you might want to try another name. So I'll be goddamn if the next week they didn't try another name and they used somebody else's name in OVW. So he had 3 names in 3 weeks.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well, exactly. So,
but it's like you said at the beginning. It's not on national TV, so
they don't mind stealing from us at all. They stole. They stole. If you want the God's honest truth, if you wanted to know how good our booking was, mainly it was Jimmy and Danny Davis and a little input from me from time to time. That was the booking of the show. And then WWE 3 to 4 weeks later, just about every fucking 3 to 4 weeks, you would see something that we had done at OVW done there, but normally not as good. And because we'd sit there and watch and go, you want to talk about the biggest ripoff in the history of wrestling? And I'll say this because we've already been on quite some time. We're a half hour over now, I think.
I'm letting you roll, man. I'm enjoying
I know you are. You ain't got no choice unless to hang up on me. The greatest ripoff of all time, Al Snow is responsible for. He denies it to this day, but he's a liar. Okay. Because I don't lie. I got no reason to lie. I'm not trying to get a job with anybody. I got no reason to fucking lie. Do you know the thing they did, Aces and Eights in TNA?
I wasn't watching TNA at the time, but I am familiar with that.
Really, neither was I until I heard this was on. You know who came up with that idea?
You.
I'd like to take credit for it, but no. It was my son. My son went to Al Snow and came up with that exact fucking idea for OVW. We were going to do it with a wrestler named Wayne, Rocco Bellagio. Who else did we have? God, there were 4 or 5 others that Chris had pretty good. And that was what we were going to do. And he had come up with this entire Aces and Eights, only we weren't going to call it that. It was going to be called something else. But the perception and the idea, everything, the conception, everything was exact other than what they called it. And then Al Snow shot it down. Oh, no, man, that's stupid. No one's going to fucking buy that. No, we're not going to do that. Well, we got our way a lot, but we didn't get our way on this one. So we let it go. My son had mainly pitched it. I told Al it was a hell of an idea, and I thought it would work. Now Al shit all over it. Well, Al also worked for TNA at the time. He was up here. Yeah. He was up here for television tapings, and then he worked for TNA a couple 3 days a week down there, and helped on their TV shows. What do we see 3 or 4 weeks right after we pitched it here to Al, and we were told how stupid it was, is the exact fucking thing that Christopher laid out for him. And I'm going, you gotta fucking be. Someone called me and says, King, says, you remember that fucking thing that Chris came up with? He said, yeah. He said, I'm watching it right now on TNA. I said, you gotta be shitting me, because it was hard for me to even watch TNA back then. So I put on TNA and I'm seeing this fucking shit, and I'm about to die. I'm going, oh, it's stupid for fucking us to do it, but you can take it down there. So I'm waiting for Al Snow when he gets back. I corner him in the office. I said, hey, it's bad enough that you tell my son how stupid his idea is and you didn't give him a chance to fucking prove it. But to steal our fucking idea and take it to fucking TNA with you and then not even fucking ask us if we're cool with it. I said, that's just a slap in our... What idea? Oh, no, man, you got it all wrong. King, we come up with that months ago. I said, you lying motherfucker. I said, you did not come up with that months ago. My son just pitched it to you 3 weeks ago over in the corner of that locker room, and you told him how stupid he was. That's what you told him. No, King, no, it was nothing like what Chris pitched. I said, it's exactly what Chris pitched. I heard every goddamn word of it, Al. I was sitting in the room. I heard every fucking word of it. So I called Chris in. I said, Chris, come here. I said, tell Chris what you just... Chris, I'm telling you, man, we didn't rip you off. We've had that idea in place for several months now. Chris looked at him, rolled his eyes, and said, go fuck yourself. And he walked out, went back to the locker room. They couldn't never tell Chris another thing to do after that. Now, I love Al. Al's a hell of a guy, and he's a buddy of mine. But, Al, you're lying.
That's
goddamn
awesome.
Liar, because you stole my fucking son's idea. If you didn't do it, you had somebody else take credit for it. But and it's sad that we're taking credit for any fucking thing TNA did, but that idea was my son's.
Yeah, I mean, even it could have been the greatest idea in the world, but if they roll, I wasn't watching TNA at the time, but even if it's a great idea, it's got to be rolled out and presented right. And from the people I know that watched TNA back then, they told me that that wasn't what was good about it. I don't know if it was at the very beginning of it, but towards the end, the Aces and Eights thing. Again, I have no context around it because I didn't watch it at that point. But that's incredible. That's a great story.
Well, I guess.
Had you ever told that one before?
God knows. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't remember what I've told on podcast and what I've told in private.
Yeah.
I don't know. You've heard a lot of my shows and you ain't heard it yet, so you can take. Do like Cornette. Just take credit for it and act like that it.
I am going to reach out to Mr. Cornette. I'm going to have to.
Go ahead and write him. Tell him that he actually got a great show out of me, and can he match it?
Yeah. Not only that, I'll try to use some info.
Now there I go, going against my own advice, telling everybody it's a great show. I need to wait and let your listeners tell me whether it was a great show or not. Like ours.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna enjoy it.
We'll see. When will your show post?
I'm gonna have to check because I've got a couple of things recorded right now. I've got one with you remember Sam Houston, right?
Oh Jesus Christ! You don't think I ain't gonna outrate Sam Houston? I could win a popularity contest with Sam Houston if nobody voted but his immediate family. You'd be best to just put that in a can and put me on and get some ratings on your show because ain't nobody wanting to listen to Sam Houston.
Holy shit!
I'm fucking with you, Sam. You're an all right guy. You're just not as good a podcast guy as me. That's all.
You know what? I hate to say it, but yeah, it's true. I mean, Sam was a great guy.
Matter of fact, Joe Cronin did a show with Sam Houston, and I looked at his views, and I looked at my views, and I stomped your ass, Sam. Let's just put it that way. And I never appeared on worldwide television like you did. I wasn't married to Baby. Was he married to Baby Doll? Is that who he was?
He was. He was married to Baby Doll.
Yeah, I didn't even marry Baby Doll. Not even Baby Doll could help you. So
Yeah.
what do you think of that, Sam? You want to fuck? You want to fuck with me? I sound like Kanye West now. Saturday Night Live. You want to fuck with me? You want to fuck with me?
That's even better.
Kanye West is a fucking idiot.
Oh God, don't get me started. I can't stand him and
believe me, guys, this ain't race related. I've stated earlier, I've dated more black women than Kanye West too, as far as that goes. And he is a ignorant asshole who thinks because he can write a couple of songs that he's over. Who gives a rat's fuck if he can write a goddamn song or not? All I know is that when I think of great songs, none of his come to mind.
Amen.
And I love Macklemore. I can't say I love Eminem, but at least I respect him as a white rapper. And I'm a white rapper. You ever seen me rap a Christmas gift?
That's a good
Best white rapping I do.
Hey, before you get out of here, you want to plug all your stuff? I know you got the headphones. I know you got the book and
they all know where it's at.
Okay.
No, I better take a chance though. The book you can get at Amazon.com. Been a very hot selling book. Been out a few months now. The name of the book, I Probably Screwed You Too. The Mostly True Stories of Kenny StarMaker Bolin. If you don't care to have my autograph, you can get it on Amazon.com for like $17.98 now. We recently reduced it due to some other cocksuckers selling their book for less than mine and forcing me to compete, such as Daniel Bryan and Bill Apter. So I had to lower the price of mine because these fuckers can't sell their book at the price that I was selling mine for. No offense, Bill Apter and Daniel Bryan, but you forced me to lower the price of my book, and I'm not happy about it. But if that's what I got to do to stomp your all's ass of sales, I'm happy to do so. If you want an autographed copy of my book, now it's a little more expensive to do it this way, but you can get it signed, and not only do you get my signature on them, but I think I've got 10 special copies around here that not only have my signature, but the Prince's, Mal Bolin, Biscuits and Gravy Razor, and believe it or not, guys, Jimmy Cornette. Signed 10 of my books because that's the only way I'd do his fucking DVDs for him. That was on top of the money he had to pay as well. So I'm like a baseball negotiator. I always get like a player to be named later or a signing bonus or whatever. So that was my signing bonus. And I think Jimmy signed me 25 books, and I might have 10 left. And those I sell them for the same $29.95, whether Jimmy's signature, and that's shipped, delivered, and everything. Beats by
so with the autograph, shipped and delivered, basically $30.
And I include a random free DVD, one of the Best of Bolin DVDs. It might be the Best of Me and Cena, a decade of BS, whatever the hell I happen to have it at arm's reach. But you'll get a free DVD with it as well.
That's a hell of a deal.
I think with the free DVD, it makes it a pretty nice deal. Cornette forced me into that because that fucker started giving away a free DVD with his book, so that forced me into doing it.
That son of a gun.
But I compete. I ain't letting nobody get the best of me. And, of course, the Beats by Bolin headphones, those are only done by me and through me. Fuck Dr. Dre. He's trying to get $200 to $400 a set.
It's a fucking ripoff. Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that.
Almost the exact same fucking headphones you can get through me for $39 to $59. People ask King, are they better than his? Well, it doesn't matter if they are or they aren't. Because I'm not charging you what he's charging you. If you think his headphone is $200 better than mine, go buy his. I could give less than a rat's fuck.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
All I know is in 2.5 years, I've sold 3,500 sets plus, and not one person has ever asked for a refund. Not one.
What's that tell you?
So if that don't tell you something there, the people obviously feel they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah,
now, some people have told me that they think mine sound as good. Some have said they think they sound better. I personally don't even think that. But you can't tell me that their headphones are $200 better. But sound is personal preference anyway. I've got a set of Monster Diamond Tears here that are $400. But I also have Monster Intunes that I sell. If you go to Walmart and buy them, they're $199. I sell them for $79. Those $79 headphones, in my opinion, and many others' opinions, sound better than the $400 Monster Diamond Tears that I'm on right now doing your show with. So it's personal preference. It's just what you personally like with your sound. I also have the wireless ones, the ones that are like the LG that go around your neck. I have those. The LGs are about $89. I sell mine for $39. Same exact damn wireless Bluetooth Bluetooth earbud. That's the word I'm selling for.
I know what you're talking about.
I also have the Beat Style pill. The pill sells for $199.95. You will see it heavily advertised on some will.i.am videos. It's on the Coldplay video. Sells for $199 to $250, depending where you're looking. I sell mine. Was $79.95. Now I've got a better deal through my distributor. I sell it for $69.95. The same exact damn thing that they sell, only mine's got a Facebook logo on it instead of a Beats logo. Don't ask me why. That's just how I get them.
Hey, for that kind of savings.
Exactly. And my DVDs are normally, most of them are $12.95 each. If it's a 2-disc set, they're $19.95. And shipping and handling charges, of course, apply. And just write my inbox on Facebook. It's /StarMaker Bolin. If you don't have Facebook, you can reach me on Twitter at /StarMaker Bolin. Shit's easy, isn't it? And right. And if you want to reach me by email, and some they don't have Twitter or Facebook, you can reach me by email at kennybolin@msn.com.
And if you're out there listening and didn't get all of that, just tweet to me and I will be able to provide it all.
There you go. He'll take care of you on it and send you in the right direction. But
I'll make sure you
basically contact my inbox at either Facebook, Twitter, or my email. Tell me what you want. The more you buy, the better deal I give you, because I do even discount off my list prices. The more you buy. Oh, and my T-shirts are all $25. The BS T-shirts, the I Probably Screwed You T-shirts, they're brand new. We just got those in a little bit ago. And the I'm a Bowling Guy T-shirts I'm sold out of right now, but people are trying to talk me into getting more. So if enough of you request them, I'll get more of them.
There you go.
What more can you ask out of one man?
Yeah, I think the book deal is pretty good, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, you get all that for $29.
Yeah, and plus the DVD that Cornette forced us to start doing.
Yeah, that damn Cornette.
Shit, I hate that. I'm going to hate him even worse until I get paid for his DVDs.
What's the best way to contact him?
Jim Cornette. I'm sorry, Jim at jimcornette.com, I believe, is his email.
I'm going to freaking email. I'm actually going to call. I'm going to put a call into James Beard, because he talks to Cornette. I'm going to say, hey, won't you help me out? I need to get Cornette on this show and see if he can play anything for me. Because after listening to you, I definitely got to get gotta get on.
Get the other side. Get the other side of the story.
No. I'm with you. Hey, I hear you say you make a compelling case overall. What do you have to lie about?
Well, listen to this shit. I'm going to give you one last thing before we go, because we've been talking an hour and 38 minutes here. This is what we're looking at doing. I've made the proposal. I'm up for it. The third member's up for it. We're looking at doing the Great Debate 2. We did it originally 7 years ago. Have you heard it?
I haven't. I've seen it all over Facebook.
My God.
I've seen it on YouTube. I have not listened.
Well, after tonight, if you don't go listen to Great Debate 2 within the next 48 hours, I'll have you committed.
Okay, I promise I'll do that, and I'll send you. I'll say, hey, I saw it.
You will thoroughly be fucking entertained. I promise you that. It's been 7 or 8 years ago since we originally did that. I proposed the Great Debate 2. Who is the better manager, me or Jimmy Cornette? I think I have a compelling argument, which I think most fans will see once we lay out our groundwork. And we need a moderator, and the moderator has agreed to this. The moderator that I contacted, who said he would do it and said he'd be fair and call it down the middle, the sinister minister, James Mitchell.
Really?
Yep. He said he would do it. He's worked with Cornette. He really only knows me on Facebook and Twitter, mainly Facebook. And but he's actually a huge fan of mine, but we ain't going to tell Cornette that. And he has said secretly that he thinks that I'm 10 times the manager that Cornette ever was, but we ain't going to tell Jimmy that. Yeah, Jimmy ain't gonna listen to anybody's podcast but his own. He just likes to hear. He likes to blow himself. So I'm not worried about it hearing this, because he thinks he's too good to listen to anybody else's podcast. That's what we're gonna do. Now we just got to get Jimmy to agree to it, and I think he haphazardly already has. We just got to get it in stone and in paper, and instead of date, we're looking to do this in April. And it'll be a 2-part show. We're going to do part of it on the bowling alley. We'll do the JCE first, and then we'll close it out on the bowling alley with part 2. That's how I'm going to demand it be done, or it may not get done at all, because both shows should have an opportunity to have this.
I would agree. That would probably make it really good. And
exactly.
And for people out there who don't know, StarMaker Bolin has his show, the Bowling Alley, and
that would be the season 10 premiere. Would be
right.
the first Wednesday in April.
So
that is according to whether Jimmy Cornette's on the road or not. If he's on the road, we'll have to adjust that date.
Right. But I'm saying as listeners, y'all need to tune into it. He's got a. You take calls and everything, right?
Yeah. The Bowling Alley, we take calls, not that piece of shit show Jimmy does, where they got no technology and they've had 3 co-hosts in 4 fucking weeks. But not the one they want. They want me, but I won't do a show they want me to do 2 shows every week. I ain't doing 2 shows every week plus mine.
Let me tell you what I lost my shit on when you were on the show the first time with MSL.
What's that? Oh God!
When you called. When you said TSP, NBC, MSNBC.
TSOP, MFSP.
TSOP. I lost my shit.
I think Jimmy nicknamed him MSNBC.
I lost my mind.
Yeah.
When you called him that, I lost it. I came unglued.
Now, do you know what TSOP and MFSB stand for?
I have no clue, but I lost my mind. Just the fact that you were calling them.
Have you ever seen the show? Have you ever seen the show Soul Train?
Yes, been a long time.
All right, well, Soul Train's theme song was done by a group called MFSB, which stands for Mother, Father, Sister, Brother. TSOP was the Sound of Philadelphia, was the name of the song, and those shows were filmed in Philadelphia. So that's kind of how all that came together, TSOP by MFSB. And I think maybe 3 people have known what those letters were when I called him all that.
You had me. I just laughed and busted out loud.
Yeah, he didn't like it that I didn't know who he was, and I'd never fucking heard of him. And from what I hear is that his parents had money, and they kind of half-ass bought him into like some little wrestling promotion or something, and he played bad guy manager. You're only as good as the people you work with. He claimed to be a manager. I don't know who he managed. What he managed, but he likes to call himself a 16-year veteran.
I know
I'm sorry.
I know last Friday he managed a buddy of mine. Well, you probably know him. I don't know, Michael Tarver.
Michael Tarver. I vaguely know that name. Where would I know that?
He was in FCW. Him and Cena had a little deal with the Nexus.
Okay, I knew I had heard that name before. I just couldn't place it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so he was managing him at a show last.
Well, you can manage Cena, or you can manage Cena's friend.
Right. Well, Tarver actually spent some time in WWE, but
he might have spent some time in the state penitentiary too, but that don't make him a good criminal.
Oh damn. So, but yeah, no. I see Jimmy's got a new co-host now. So
yeah, third one in 5 weeks. He's running through them like water over there. Dick. Only such a dick, you might be able to keep a co-host. Good stuff.
I tell you what, he's got a good following with it though. I can't knock him on that.
Does he? I prove him wrong on that too. So, well, you see, you make me keep talking. You try to put Cornette over and you keep me talking.
Oh, no.
He's not over, and I'm going to explain to you why. Because on his Twitter thing, it says he's got 95,000 followers.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, 95,000. You know how many I got on Twitter? It's like 2666 is the number I saw today. 2666. It's gone up some since I did the Russo show. Apparently, Russo's fans are liking me now.
Okay.
2666. Well, what number is dramatically more? 2666 or 95,000?
Well, on the surface.
Well, 95,000. Well, when it comes down to listeners of our podcast, he gets about 20 to 30,000 listeners a show. We at the Bowling Alley get 20 to 30,000 listeners a show. But obviously, they all aren't following me on Twitter, I guess because they know that I'm rarely ever there. Facebook, I've got the 5,000, which is the maximum it'll let you have. But I've recycled through those, I bet you, 15 times in the fucking 8-9 years that I've been on there. And because if you don't buy something from me or you don't write me within a year, when your birthday comes up, you get deleted.
No shit.
I click your message. If I don't have a message from you and you ain't bought nothing from me, you better at least write me. You don't have to buy anything. But if you have just friended me for the sake of friending, you're taking up true wrestling fan spaces on my deal. So when your birthday comes up, if you haven't messaged me or bought from me, goodbye. Get back in line. And then I accept others that are in line waiting. And hell, I went through here a few months ago and deleted over 600 names. Now, I didn't want to do it because it makes it look like I don't have as many fans and followers. But I got rid of the 600 dead weights and have already maxed it back out again almost. I think I'm one or two shy. Maxed it back out with people that are legit fans and will actually buy something, listen to your shows, and write you from time to time. Because I answer everybody eventually, as long as you ain't a fucking moron. Or say, hey, what up?
Oh, God, don't get me started on that.
Oh, you do that shit and you're done with me.
Don't get me started on that one with face. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I hate that shit. So
they said, hey. So I'll reply back, who sent you?
Yeah, hey.
And they're like,
yeah, hey.
They're like, what?
I normally give them what they got. You know, hey. And I write back, hey. Hello. And I give them exactly what they give me until I'm done fucking with them, and then I delete them.
Absolutely.
So I don't know where I was going. Cornet. So here's what I did. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I want to find out exactly how many followers Cornet has. 95,000, huh? Well, they all obviously aren't listening to your show, so they're not followers. They're pretenders. And they're obviously not all buying anything from you. So we're going to find out exactly how many listeners you got right now. I want every Jimmy Cornette fan out there, all 95,000 of you, to send me $2. Here's my PayPal, Kenny Bolin at MSN.com. Send me $2. And for every one of you that sends me $2, I'm going to send you back $10.
Oh, that's a hell of an offer.
But the only way I'm going to do it is if 60,000 of Jimmy's 90,000 fans write me and send me the $2. 30,000, 35,000 of them, Jimmy, get the night off. They don't have to do shit. But 65,000 of your followers got to send me $2. And if they do, I'll send all 60,000 of them $10. How's that? I said, well, you don't have to agree to it. I just have. So there you go. That's the deal. And I want you to know not one fucking person sent me $2. He ain't got any listeners. What, you trade 2 for 10? You're not an idiot. You'd do that.
Oh, God, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Well, of course you would. Any fucking idiot would. So that proves that Jimmy doesn't have any listeners. Not a goddamn one. I'm just wasting my time on that fucking show. I got call-ins. I got proof I got listeners. They actually call into my show. So I got more followers than Jimmy Cornette. Jimmy's got 95,000 of bullshit that he apparently bought or paid for. Somebody purchased those followers for him. Because they ain't listening to his show, and they apparently don't feel they need $10 for $2. That's an 80% return on.
That's a hell of a return.
A 500% return on your investment. What bank are you going to get that at?
None. It doesn't exist.
So it proves that he has no followers, or he's got 65,000 of the dumbest motherfuckers following him that ever lived.
Well, that's
probably a good shot at either one, to be honest with you.
Right. There's a split.
All right. Well, I've ranted enough. It's 8 minutes till 9. I got work to do around here. I got DVDs to make for that stupid fuck.
Well, StarMaker, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And hey, don't let this be the last time. I'd love to
send me $2 and I'll see what I can do for you.
I'd love to have you back on sometime. Who knows?
Absolutely. Well, spread the word for me, and hopefully you can move me a little merchandise. And the more merchandise I move, the sooner I'll be back.
I hear you on that one. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much for all your time.
You're quite welcome.
Thanks again for checking out this week's YouTube episode of Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast, where we had on, as you just heard, Kenny the StarMaker Bolin. If you enjoyed this week's episode on the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to our weekly shows. Like I was saying at the very beginning of the episode, you can subscribe on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, a host of different ways you can get our show. Just search Booking the Territory or check out the links in the bottom info or description section of this video. So, hey, Kenny StarMaker Bolin, thank you again for coming on. Thank you, everyone who checked out the episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Enjoyed the stories that Kenny the StarMaker Bolin talked about related to his life in the world of pro wrestling and his experiences with the one and only Jim Cornette. So that's all we got until next week, where who knows which interview we will upload. But thanks again for tuning in, and we appreciate all of your time. Make sure you give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/Booking the Territory, and give us a follow on Twitter at BTT_podcast. We appreciate it, everybody. Have a good rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this.
Even though I'm trying to eat and you can't have none, so I keep back and chill, just show you how I live. Now haters tell me ain't that fun. So you really don't like me, so you really don't like me, huh? And you really wanna fight me, do you really wanna fight me, son? I ain't really with the beef, even though I'm trying to eat and you can't have none. So I keep back and chill, just show you how I live. Now tell me haters ain't that fun. Hell yeah, I'm gonna hold a lot of enemies. See you niggas trying to judge like a panelist. Wanna break a nigga down like an analyst. And like my haters, you're my number one candidate. So I vote you niggas off the island. I pray to God cause I don't wanna be violent. Why you mad, my nigga? Because I'm styling. And now I'm dogging you haters, but I ain't growling. Whoop. Horsing around, get hit with a hook. Smart ass niggas get hit with a book. Bad little boys get hit with the look. When you playing with a king, don't shift like a rook. I do what I did cause I can. And stop it because of my family's a man. You hear what I'm saying? So since I did it for the fame, just know that I'll do it again. So you really don't like me. So you really don't like me, huh? And you really wanna fight me. Do you really wanna fight me, son? I ain't really with the beef, even though I'm trying to eat and you can't have none. So I keep back and chill, just show you how I live. Now haters tell me ain't that fun. So you really don't like me. So you really don't like me, huh? And you really wanna fight me. Do you really wanna fight me, son?
That's what they say.
I ain't really with the beef, even though I'm trying to eat and you can't have none. So I keep back and chill, just show you how I live. Now tell me haters ain't that fun.
Wait. What's that? Look, you niggas ain't talking about nothing. You already saw what you wanted so clearly. You niggas ain't talking about money. Man, I hate Jay Clay. Well, I'm right here, dude. A nigga ain't talking about running. Your problems can be solved on that roof. But you niggas ain't talking about jumping. So watch me get like a baseball player. Cause I spit like a baseball player. I hit like a baseball player. Nigga, I rich like a baseball player. Yeah, well, it's getting there. There's not a doubt in my mind that you're sitting there. Watching my grind from your kitchen chair. Looking all side-eyed like a chicken scare. Bacardi, drinking Bacardi. Blame it on the alcohol. Nah, blame it on Baldy. Sure, your demise is probably my fault. My fault. That you get disrespected like a cop car. Nigga, this first like a art bark. Y'all can all just kiss my dark spot. One tone.
So you really don't like me. So you really don't like me, huh? And you really wanna fight me. Do you really wanna fight me, son? I ain't really with the beef, even though I'm trying to eat and you can't have none. So I keep back and chill, just show you how I live. Now haters tell me ain't that fun. So you really don't like me.